Tom, thank you very much for those kind words. I'm always a little bit uncomfortable being recognized like this, because in our business, when you get an award like this, it means that a family has suffered a tragedy. And that's certainly true in this case. And the Castaneda family, Francisco's daughter Vanessa and his sister Yanni, are here with us tonight. Thank you. Yanni and Vanessa, thank you for allowing me to enjoy this award tonight. And tonight is a special night because there's no higher praise than being recognized by your peers. And this award in particular is undoubtedly one of the highest honors any trial lawyer can receive. But we're here tonight to recognize and celebrate the great power and responsibility that we all have to effect change through the courts. And the courts really are the great equalizer. I think they are the last frontier, the one place where money and politics can't buy justice. And for me, the Castaneda cases epitomize the power of the courts and the daily struggles that we all go through to bring justice to our clients. But before I talk about the cases, some well-deserved acknowledgments are in order. First, I'd like to thank the CAALA Board of Directors. I know that many of you didn't know me very well, and some not at all, when you voted on this award this past October. And because of that, this award means even more to me. And I also think that it speaks volumes about the integrity of the board and the process that brought me to this podium tonight. The other thing that I'd like to do briefly is to recognize the other finalists for this award who are sometimes forgotten on this night, because every one of them deserved to be standing up here tonight, and they made tremendous contributions to the civil justice system this past year. Adam Shea, Carney Shigarian, Matt McNicholas, and Greg Smith. The quest that we undertook, as Tom described it, was not accomplished alone. And although this is a night to celebrate CAALA, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize another organization that is at the forefront for the fight for justice. And that organization is Public Justice. Public Justice is led by Arthur Bryant, and we heard earlier this evening that his wife Nancy passed away this morning. And when the going got tough in this case, it was all hands on deck, with many contributions from the organization. Amy Radon did fantastic work on this case. Arthur Bryant himself and Leslie Bruckner pitched in when we were drafting our Supreme Court briefs. And Adele Kimmel was really the driving force in this case. But I'd really like to single out two people. Number one is Tom Dempsey. Tom, thank you for selflessly donating your time to this case and for coming up with just the right theme or analogy just when we needed it. And Adele Kimmel. Adele, you really deserve to be standing up here beside me and receiving this award. You were my right hand from the beginning of this case, and your boundless energy and enthusiasm for this cause is astonishing. And you never have a great result in a great case without fantastic clients. Yanni, I admire you so much for your loyalty and dedication to Francisco, taking care of him during his last year of life. And Vanessa Castaneda, Vanessa, I'm so proud of you. You're a wonderful woman. You have a limitless future. And Vanessa is getting her associate's degree tomorrow morning at 9:30, and she just bumped her flight back tonight to stay and hear me speak. And finally, I'd like to recognize my parents who are immigrants, as am I, although I think I'm listed in the brochure as being born in Connecticut. They're from Ireland and Canada. The first time they ever saw me in court was being absolutely skewered by Justice Scalia and his friends in Washington, D.C. It really wasn't a great day for me, but I'm glad that you could see me here in front of a friendlier audience, or at least one that doesn't talk back. And Justice Turner, so, Mom and Dad, thank you for always believing in me. In some ways, the Castaneda cases illustrate both the best and the worst in our system. I was shocked to find out how the United States had turned its back on the immigrant detainee population, a truly powerless and voiceless group. The executive branch of government failed Mr. Castaneda. We appeared before Congress and testified to try to get a change in policy. Congress did nothing. The Supreme Court turned us away. But the trial courts provided the family justice when no one else would. And we sought to convince a Los Angeles jury that you judge the degree of civilization in a society by entering its prisons. But they didn't really, surprisingly enough, require much convincing. They knew what our government apparently didn't. And the reason why a Los Angeles jury issued a shot really heard around the world was because the jury system works for everyone when we as trial lawyers take on the fight that others won't. And before I conclude my remarks, I want to tell you a quick story that I think encapsulates how I feel about these cases. Let me take you back to January 2008. It was the deposition of Francisco Castaneda, and it was literally on his deathbed. He died 2 to 3 weeks after this deposition. And I drive across town deep into East LA to his sister Yanni's house. And it's a humble but very well-kept apartment. And Yanni had cleared out the living room and had erected a sort of a bed and a cot in the corner of the house. I enter the house and I see that Francisco is covered up and he's shivering, and he can no longer walk. His body had been ravaged by the cancer. But although he could barely speak, he has a message for me. And I lean over because he can just speak in a whisper. And he says to me, "Make sure that my suffering is not forgotten. I don't want anybody else to ever go through what I went through." And I promised him that day that I would do everything in my power to bring his family justice and change the policy for provision of medical care to immigration detainees. A filmmaker friend of mine has just completed a documentary called Speak. It's a great film, and it's about the 2008 World Championship in public speaking. And I was recently at the film screening, and the woman who won it, LaShonda Rundles, suffered from a terminal illness. And she said, "We aren't half afraid of dying as we are that no one will remember that we were ever here." And that was Francisco's fear on his deathbed. And LaShonda talked about passing from life into death. And she said, "Our words are like seeds that we can sow on this side to make our lives immortal." And that is the gift that we give our clients. We ensure that their tragedies are not forgotten and honor their suffering with safer products, better medicine, and equal rights for all of us. The jury verdict in this case fulfilled my promise to Francisco, and so do nights like this. Thank you so much for honoring his memory. And tonight certainly is a highlight of my career because of the incredible lawyers that have preceded me at this podium. And to give you an idea of the incredible power of persuasion of last year's winner, Ricardo convinced me, against my Irish better judgment, not to drink anything before the speech tonight. And I do plan to catch up to you all in the next couple of hours. So please, and I promise to be a little bit less somber and serious. So come and join us for a drink and celebrate Francisco's memory. Thank you.